guys, welcome back to another video. This week I'm glad you're back. This week's recipe is gonna be queso fresco. Queso fresco is used on so many Mexican dishes. It's used for toppings, it's used to cook with. You can just eat it like that. You can get a warm tortilla with queso and some salsa, call it a night. So today we're gonna be making a queso recipe. For this recipe, you would normally want fresh milk that comes right out from the cow. You wouldn't want a processed milk, for example, like the one that I'm gonna be using right now. I mean, it works, it does the job, but if you want like authentic Mexican queso, you would want to get milk that comes straight out from the cow. As soon as the cow gets milk and the milk gets put into a container, you would want to add the process for it to become queso. It would taste way better if it's made like this versus with the milk that you would find at your regular store. But I'm going to be using 1 gallon of milk. I'm going to be using Lala brand. It's a Mexican brand. Lala. I'm going to be using whole milk. If you're going to be buying the gallons of milk, don't buy the 2% milk because it's not going to work. I mean, it's going to work, but it's not going to be the same. The fat has already been taken out of the 2% milk, meaning you're not going to get enough cheese on there and it's not going to taste the same. So get whole milk. And if you can find organic whole milk that's not very expensive, that would work even better. I'm going to be using 1 gallon of Lala milk. I'm also going to be using apple cider vinegar. I got the one that was available at my store. It just happened to be organic from the HB brand. You can use any type of apple cider vinegar that you want. You can also use white vinegar and salt. These 3 ingredients are what we're going to be using: milk, vinegar, and salt. We're also going to be using a thermostat. We're going to be checking the temperature of our milk as we're heating it up. It needs to get to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a thermostat, don't worry. As soon as you see that the milk is starting to boil up, that's when you're going to remove it. A cheesecloth or a cheese bag, something that can hold the milk and you can squeeze it in. We're gonna pour all the milk into a container and we're gonna heat it up. I'm checking the temperature, and as you can see, I have just taken it out of the fridge, so it's super cold. We're gonna leave it like this for about 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, you wanna continue moving the milk, or else it's gonna get stuck at the bottom. It's gonna get burnt at the bottom. And whenever you move it, you're gonna see some white things on your spoon like this. So make sure you keep moving it constantly and checking the temperature to get that amount. Once the temperature reaches 150 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to keep checking the temperature, because after this, the temperature is going to change very dramatically. We don't want the milk to boil. We just want it hot enough so we can add the vinegar to it. After about 10 to 15 minutes, all this process has been made with medium to low heat on your stove. And every stove is going to be different. But after about 15 minutes for my stove, it's ready. It's at 190 degrees. I'm going to be adding the vinegar, between 1/3 and 2/3 of vinegar. We're going to be adding it slowly. You're going to start seeing that the milk is falling apart. It's becoming into white chunks. That's what we want. We want the milk to separate so we can get our cheese. We're going to leave it like this, sitting on the side with the heat off for about 15-20 minutes. After about 15-20 minutes, the mixture looks like this. As you can see, the white stuff, the cheese, is like more together. It's closer together and it's kind of like one big ball, but it's still not formed yet. On a bowl, we're gonna add a strainer, and then we're gonna add our cheesecloth. We're gonna start slowly adding the cheese bits from the water into the cheesecloth. If you wanna pour it in, you can do that. I'm just adding it little by little because I'm showing you on my counter and I don't want the water to spill all over my counter. But if you want to do this on the sink, it's going to be much faster. Just remove the bowl and pour it directly like that. As you can see, this is how the water looks like. It's like a yellowish, greenish water. We're gonna throw that away. We don't need it. The cheesecloth, squeezing the water out. After a few seconds of squeezing the cheese, you're gonna leave it like that. After a few minutes of squeezing the cheese, this is how much water I have taken out of. I'm gonna throw that water away. As you can see, the cheese, it's kind of formed, but it still needs to be worked on, and it also has water. You wanna let it sit here like this for about 5 minutes. This is just so it can rest. After about 5 minutes, we're gonna continue the process of squeezing. You wanna grab the ends of your cheesecloth and squeeze it all the way at the bottom to where it meets the cheese. And then you're gonna twist, as I'm doing right here. And you're gonna squeeze and twist, squeeze and twist, squeeze and twist until the water keeps going. After a few minutes, you're gonna release it, grab it back up from the bottom, twist it a little bit, and then squeeze again. As you can see here, between my thumb and my pointy finger, you can see white liquid. That's when you're gonna stop. Once you see that your water is no longer like a clear yellow-green color, and it's more like a creamy color, more like a white color, that's when you're gonna stop squeezing. You have already taken the bad stuff out of the cheese, which is not really bad. That is used to make other types of cheese, but in this case we're not going to use it, so we can throw that away, which is why it's called the bad water, which we don't need it while making queso fresco. So this is how the water looks like. It's like a white, kind of like a milk color. That's when you know you need to stop squeezing, once you get this result. We're gonna throw the cheese into the bowl, and we're gonna add salt. As you can see, it's a little bit crumbly now, and it's much more whiter than it was before. If you've ever made masa, what you normally do to the flour to make it into a dough, it's what you're gonna do to the cheese. You're gonna amasar the cheese, which means is you're gonna knead the cheese. You're gonna grab it from one end and you kind of wanna squish it. Kind of like if you're washing your clothes in a lavadero. A lavadero is like a Mexican washing machine, like a rock. You're gonna pretend your cheese is like your clothes. You're gonna grab one end and then just rub it against each other, as I'm doing here. You kind of want to form like a paste. After a few minutes, you're gonna see that the consistency of the cheese is not the same. It kind of looks more like creamier in a way, even though we didn't add anything to it by salt. At this time, you can go ahead and taste for salt. As you can see, it's also more moldy than before. It kind of looks like Play-Doh now. You can taste for salt at this time, and if you feel like it needs more salt, you can add it. The salt is going to depend totally on you, however much salt that you want to add. You can add a lot of salt and make it a salty cheese, or you don't have to add a lot of salt and don't make it a salty cheese. It's up to you, however much salt you would want to add. And you want to keep kneading for another minute or two. After about 10 minutes of kneading my cheese, I'm ready to bring it to my mold. Now, at my house, I have this mold that I use for whenever I make cakes. I'm going to be adding my cheese into this. But if you don't have this, you can do it on a Tupperware as well. Just add a baking sheet on the bottom, so that way when you're ready to take out the cheese, it slides out automatically. Or you can rub a little bit of oil or butter to the side so it can slide whenever you're ready to remove it. We're gonna take the cheese, make it into a ball, and then we're gonna put it into our mold. And we're going to squish the cheese down as hard as you can so it can stick to each other. You can use a spoon, you can use a spatula, whatever you have around your house to help you squeeze this cheese down into the mold. You can use this cheese automatically right there and then, but I would recommend leaving it a couple hours or at least the night in the fridge to make it taste better, but you can use it right away. So after a minute of me squeezing the cheese down on my mold, I'm ready to remove it. This is how it looks like. I'm also going to be removing the bottom part of it, and as you can see, it kind of left a little design on it. It kind of looks like a little square design on it, and this is the end result of my queso fresco. In a little bit, I'm going to put it back in the mold, and I'm going to leave it on my fridge overnight, and I'm going to eat it tomorrow. But I just want to show you the end result of it, and also that you can use it right away. This is an easy recipe that can be made within 30-40 minutes. It doesn't really take that much time. What takes the most time is heating up the milk and not letting it burn, and then letting it rest in between. That's what takes up time. It doesn't really take much time for you to make the cheese. And you can use this cheese for enchiladas, sopes, gorditas, a taco de queso with some salsa and avocado on it. It comes out really good. I hope you guys make this recipe. Don't forget to tag me on my social media to let me know how you guys did. Remember, I have an Instagram page and a TikTok page. I have more recipes on TikTok just because it's easier for me to edit a 1-minute video than a 10-15 minute video. So if you want more recipes, you can also follow me on TikTok, and I have more recipes, more simple, easy recipes on there. And I'm going to leave the links down below. And that's it for today's video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Share with your friends if you loved it. Subscribe to our channel to be part of our family. Click that notification bell so you can be notified every time that I upload a video. Like I said, I really hope you make this recipe, and we'll see you next week with a brand new recipe. Bye. Have a great weekend. Take care.